Welcome to another episode of I Catch Killers. I don't really know how to describe today's episode. There's an unwritten rule in societies across the world that children need to be protected. Life is tough enough when you get older, so it makes sense children should be protected. Well, for a 6-year-old boy growing up in a village in the South Sudan, that was not the case. His life changed dramatically when the Sudanese People's Liberation Army took him away to fight in a bitter civil war. It's hard to comprehend what effect that would have. How do you process the horrors of war as a 6-year-old? If you're lucky enough to survive, what type of physical and emotional scars would you expect to carry? Today's guest spent years as a boy soldier. During that time, he was shot multiple times, and as is the business of war, he did things that haunt him to this day. His brother John risked his own life and helped him escape from the SPLA, smuggled him across to a Kenyan refugee camp before his visa was approved to immigrate to Australia. That's just the start of his truly amazing and inspirational story. Since arriving in Australia, he has educated himself, obtaining a law degree, works as a defence lawyer and runs a successful legal practice. He works as a refugee advocate, and his contribution to his adopted country, Australia, was recognised when he was nominated in 2017 as the New South Wales Australian of the Year. We have so much to talk about with today's guest, who I think will give you an understanding of how lucky most of us are. Deng Adut, welcome to I Catch Killers.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on, Deng, and I've got to say I've had a lot of guests on, and a lot of them have amazing stories, but I'm just blown away by your story. It's quite incredible.
Well, I think my story is it's a needle in an ocean, the way you can look at it. And as far as I'm alive, I feel very lucky because other people, especially children who were with me at the time, most of them don't exist today. And if they do exist, they exist with a lot of injuries, psychological, physical. And it's a point where I always say, once you are involved in those conflict, civil war in general, those scars will be grinded into you.
Yeah.
And you can't get rid of them. They become part of you, and in general. So the idea of managing them, maybe that's the only way.
That's the way.
That's the way. But otherwise, I feel very lucky to be alive today, and even be in my close to 40s. And
yeah.
So yeah, this my life is a miracle. It's a walking miracle. I always believe it is a miracle. That's why I'm here.
I get the sense, and I've read your book, and also heard you talk in a lot of different forums, and I get the sense that you feel like you carry the way that you live your life. You're carrying for those that weren't as fortunate as you. And when it comes to a war situation, a lot of time it is luck that you survive and others didn't. So do you feel that burden of living your life?
Every day. Every day I feel that burden. And especially those who were children, I'm specifically feeling, my feelings is toward the children.
Yeah.
I don't care about adults picking up weapons, which they design themselves.
Yeah.
And use it against themselves. I don't have a problem with that. Let them do it. But when it involves children, elders, especially grandmothers, grandparents, grandfathers, and all these elderly people that have no business in war, are the victim, and majority of them
they get dragged into it.
Dragged in, and they are the first to die.
Yeah.
Because the rest got legs to run. They have a vehicle to run. The children don't. They are abandoned, and you and
it's brutal.
They are abandoned by their parents, not because of the parent inability to care for them.
Yeah.
Just when a war breaks out, children get lost.
Yeah.
Everywhere, and especially there's a version of my books, and that version is a version that is not here in Australia. It's called they call Lost Boys. Lost Boys.
Lost Boys.
Yeah, because I'm the version of the Lost Boys. But these Lost Boys, most of them they are in the U.S. and they completely destroyed and by the war. I don't think you could say there will be at least 10% of people like me that are actually alive and having a physical ability.
So
like me.
It's not just being alive; it's functioning.
It's functioning.
You carry emotional and physical scars and being able to function. I'm particularly interested in your book and Songs of a War Boy, and I didn't until I read the book. I didn't quite appreciate the title of it.
Okay,
and then I realised with your culture the importance of song telling to tell the stories and pass it on. And at the start of the book, there's a little bit, and I'll just read out some of it from the book. And this is talking about songs and the importance to you.
Yes.
Dinka people, is that the correct?
They are Dinka people. The Dinka, I would say, it's a name given to us.
Right.
But we are Jeng, Jieng, Jeng, or Monjeng, Monyjieng.
Right.
Jieng is Jeng, and that is basically our broader names or ethnic names. And then there's Nuer, which is another branch, and then there's Chuluk, and these are closest relative. But we are Jeng, we are called Jeng. Nuer call us Jeng, Chuluk call us Jeng.
Okay.
And the rest call us Dinka. And then to end up with the insults like Jenge, and everything goes to it like perhaps Dingo is one example you could find that. You could trace that because that dog is our dogs in general.
Okay.
So all these all those names, but our name is Jeng, Jieng.
Jeng,
yes.
Jeng.
And men is Monjang, so we call them Monjang. That our name. Yes.
All right. With the book, and I read that just a brief passage out talking about the songs. They precede us, introduce us, and live on after we die.
Yes.
They're also how our deeds escape our village,
and
they pass on our code of morality, culture, and law. So that made me realise the importance of the title of your book and the fact that this is how stories are told. Everything about your culture
central
is passed on, and
it's through songs, through stories that are told through songs, and those songs turn into a lullabies that the children sing. And for me, yes, I know many songs, though these songs are not mine because of the war. I could have made my own. But yes, I do. I know songs. My father has songs, and my uncle has songs. My great uncle has songs. And those songs, they contain a story of the family.
Right.
It contains the lineage where you can trace somebody. It's about traceability. And most of us, we have written language here. But for Dinka, to trace something, you got to have a story.
Right.
And that story is something that you must remember on top of your head. For example, I remember my father's name is Thik, Thik. Adut, Adut. Garang, Grang. Ayak, Ayang. Padiu, Padhiu. And I can go on and on. And
that's passing the lineage.
But that
through the songs.
I must be told of those when I have to actually stick in your head like a song. It must be a song. It must stick into your head. And the same thing apply to my mother. My mother is a Thiu, a Kau, A-K-U, Deng. That's where my name just came from. So Deng Adut.
Right.
So I'm actually it's my mother's side. That's where I get the name from, Deng.
Passes on.
Pass it on that way. So through song, for example, I can sing song from my father's song. I can have it say, Tingalona mora chwet topinika koi. Wet quo to bull when young di Magdan Achiram Nangriat. That song is related to my father was a hunter.
Okay.
And he hunt hippopotamus, crocodile, fishermen, by rights. By rights.
Yeah.
That's a birth right anyway. So, and also have a little bit of farm. He doesn't have much cattle like other Dinka, which are Boer. So, for me, I must be conceived as one of the, assume my tribe, as Dinka Boer, and then go to Malek Tonch, which is my tribe, are considered to be fishermen, which means they are this thing like fish.
Yeah.
They're basically demonized by a lot of people in general. But we do have our own strength, which other communities don't have, even though we have few. So yes, we do have our own way of dealing with us, with our things. Even though we are the minority among the whole tribe of Boer, we still we have great integrity. It's something that is known among the whole Boer community, the whole Sudanese community. They will actually know that people from Tonch have a great integrity from the beginning to the end of it. We don't have problems. So integrity is ours.
It shows talking like that and how in-depth it is for you, and it just shows you how different an environment coming to Australia from what you grew up in. And I'd be interested in your childhood, because I really want people to understand, because I think it's important. Like there's different periods of your life. It was when you were a child and you were living in the village, and I think your interest as a 6-year-old was cattle, and that's where your aspirations were. Then you have that war period. Then you've had the immigration period. Let's talk about your childhood to give people in Australia an understanding. So when we're talking about someone that's made a journey, how far you've come and the changes that you've seen. And that's what I find not only amazing but inspirational.
Okay. I think this is very, very important and very interesting question anyway. Okay. Focus on my childhood. My mother, Thiu Akau Deng, was last wife to my father. My father got 6 wives.
Right.
And the first child was Yar, and she passed away, Y-A-R. And then the second child that was born is Adut, A-D-U-T, and that's it. Yep. Then my mother had Atong, John Mach, my brother.
John Mach,
yeah. And then I had Guet, G-U-E-T.
Yep.
And then I had me, Deng, D-E-N-G, and Akau, A-K-A-U.
Yep.
Akau is the last born. Now, my father had 43 children altogether. Yeah. So I'm number 42.
Okay.
In a lineage. When I was young, I was spoiled, because being almost like the last child is unbelievable. I had those 43 almost make me more very spoiled than anybody else in the whole family. Just like
I could imagine,
until my little brother arrived. Yeah. But when my little brother arrived, I knew my mom was pregnant. So, and I got jealous of my brother, because
you like the attention.
Not just attention. I just don't want anybody else to share food with me, because I was a greedy kid. Yeah. And I must eat first before everybody. Even though it was my priority, because children eat first. It doesn't matter. So my mom was laying down she's heavily pregnant. She's laying under the tamarind tree. And so I went to pick up one of the brick that she used for stove for cooking. Yeah. And I had her just walking around with it. It's heavy. But what I had in my mind was to abort the baby.
Dang, this is terrible.
That's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. So I pick up the brick and hurl it to my mom's belly and drop it right in her belly. And my mom screamed. Yeah. I heard that. I thought I actually heard my mom. Yeah. So I ran and climbed the top of the tree, stay on top of the tree, because I knew if I came down, I'm going to get in big trouble. Yeah. And my mom treated me like it was okay. I forgot everything. And then she grabbed my hand, tied me to the tree, and let me urinate into an ant's mouth. Yeah. And the ants actually did their job. They just came out and ate me alive.
Okay. Well, that's a tough lesson, but it's a
tough lesson. From there, I don't recall. until I get to military when I was conscripted. I don't recall making any mistake in my life from that moment.
Right.
I don't recall even when I was in army making any mistakes.
Yeah.
The only mistake that I actually made in army were because if I refused to do things that other people want me to do, for example, my commanding officer may basically say, do that, and I refuse. And all I got to get is just getting whipped, getting tortured, 20 lashes on my bum, or 15, or even 30 or 50.
Yeah.
And you get that a day. That's your punishment.
Brutal.
So, when I was a kid, I remember I had beautiful life.
Yeah.
And that beautiful life, you see how dangerous it become to the point that I nearly killed my mother.
Yeah.
And of course, I was good in making cow from the mud, and that's something very. It's a skill that I don't think a lot of people in Australia can compete with me. Just you can give me a mud, a soil, and then I can basically make cows.
Yeah.
Directly. I made few of them 3 weeks ago when I went to Australian Museum there. And I made some for my daughter, cows and chickens
just
and kangaroo. Just naturally.
Yeah.
Anything that I can mold with my hand, it will be just that I'll produce a proper cow for you. And then you can basically say, this is Deng cow. And yes, so I had a good childhood. I had enough time to play.
Yep.
When I was,
you had the Nile River.
River Nile. It's. I had a lake. My father got a lake.
Yep.
The channel of the lake just came out directly from my house.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the Nile. So Nile is 20 meters away from my house.
Yes.
That's how far it is, and I'm nearly drowned in the Nile at one point with my brother. My brother nearly drowned me, and from there I got a problem with water.
Yeah.
I don't like getting into water. If I swim, I have to be basically up to my legs.
Where you can stand.
Beyond that, because I was a scar from nearly being drowned.
From your childhood. So you're living in a village environment. And your house, how would you describe your house? What were you sleeping in?
Okay. My father, like I said, my father was not some sort of ordinary man. He was a deputy chief.
Yep.
He had a place. He had a house called Luak, Luak.
Yep.
And my nickname is Malwak, Mluak. Luak is a cattle shed. It's the biggest cattle shed you could ever build.
Right.
It's like only a rich person can actually have that. You can put in up to 50 cows, 60 cows, 70 cows. And that is during the rainy season, the dry season, so that the children will have milk.
Yep.
So my father had that one of a kind called luak. So not everyone in a whole Dinka tribe can have a luak.
But you did?
Yes, I did.
And all the families living together, like the six wives? Or?
No, they have their own. Assume this is Esconville where we are.
Yeah.
The size of Esconville is tiny compared to my land, my village, my family house.
Yep.
So my dad's first wife will have a house about half a kilometer.
Okay.
The other wife half a kilometer. The other one about 50, maybe 500.
Keep
and
just
separately. The wives are separately, but the area, like Esconville, it's actually that belonged to my father.
Okay.
And then my uncle got an area there. And then my other uncle go that way. So that is how it spread. So in terms of my house, there was luak. There were 3 African hat touched with grass.
Yeah. Huts.
Huts.
With grass.
Yeah, with grass. And we have silos as well. Silos for keeping grains every now and then, and also silos for keeping fish.
Yep.
So I have a vivid memory of those things clearly. And type of where did I sleep? Bed-wise, bed is normally if you look at the papyrus plant.
Yeah.
The papyrus plant, which is turn into a paper. We basically is knit. They kneaded it.
Yep.
Turn into a mat. Or turn into
mat on the floor.
On the floor. And the same one can be turned into almost like a mattress on top because of the softness of it. So you have that on your bed. And then you have your cow skin, general. Cow skin. So this is pretty much almost like you can say it was a zero emission. It was zero emission back then.
So from a child's point of view, what you're describing sounds like a lot of fun to me. Like growing up at that age, and you're not thinking about the broader picture or what the world, but that's your little world. So there would have been a lot of fun, a lot of kids playing around and...
it was just... it was unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. I just can't imagine... I imagine that life where the child can play all day with a friend. That's the life that I visualize that nearly every Australian children should have. A life not like a torturous life where we gotta take them to school from 7 a.m. and then return them in the afternoon just because we don't have time for them. And we have time to go to work, or we can just chip responsibility to a third party.
Them to ballet or soccer training or
There you go. So that is not the case. Over there, it's like it's a real child play. You play to the point that you could even harm yourself. For example, I remember being naughty enough to go and mend myself a bow and start shooting on animal, and I shot a baboon, and I remember nearly getting killed by a baboon. And
because they're potentially dangerous, like baboons.
They're clever, they're strong, they're dangerous, and they are caring and amazing caring than a human being. Because I do remember I was breastfed by a baboon.
Right. Okay.
By a baboon. And not only that, a baboon. I actually when I shot the baboon with the bow. The baboon waited for me for 4 days. It didn't forget about me. It remember my eyes, remember everything about me, among other children. So it was stalking me for 4 days until the baboon went and killed my... No, it didn't kill my billy goat. It went and took my billy goat's eye off. I had a billy goat, small one. So baboon went and took the eyes off, leave him blind, and then disappeared.
Right.
Yep. After he did that, the baboon disappeared. It was just a simple revenge. So yes, they're quite clever. They don't forget. They remember their faces. And they even remember names.
And you, because there was one, I think it was in your book, that you, when you were young, you took baboons into the kitchen to help for the food, and you got into trouble about that.
No. It's actually it was baboon who were actually having adult time. Adult time. And I was just stupid. And because when you look at baboon, the behind it is a red, red and so red and pink, and it's amazing for a child to do that. So I aimed at baboon and I shot him right in the red part. And the baboon chased me. The same baboon chased me until my mother, my father's wife, have to actually save me from baboon. But baboon didn't leave. It didn't leave. It stayed there for 4 days, waiting for me. Waiting for me until he decided that, well, this kid is not going to come out. He's smart. So he went and get my billy goat and then blind the billy goat and leave him like that. Okay. So,
It's some pretty interesting lessons there in life. So it's a type of the childhood you describe is something that it's hard for people that have grown up in Australia to even comprehend that type of childhood. But moving on from there, and then the next part of your life, which is shaped you, and that idyllic existence. Left, because tell us about how that happened. And you weren't abducted at gunpoint, but
No.
you were conscripted. And can you explain what the conflict was about and how that played out?
Well, the conflict, our conflict was rooted in colonialism, and when British left Sudan, when it was colonized by Sudan, it gave the land to give the ruling government were Islamic regime, the Turkish first, and then Turkish, and then become Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, then running it.
Yep.
And then from Egypt, and then it came to Hena Mujahideen, the holy war fighters, and or the Islamic regime. And this Islamic regime, basically, they did not allow Sudanese to, especially Sudanese, to either be Christian or be animist or be anything other than being Muslim. So with the total, Sudan was declared as a Sharia, the first Sharia law country that I know of, and for us as indigenous people there, we basically suffer that consequence of that. And not only that, it's a slave trade just stopped in 2000, and slavery is one of the issue. That's one of the key. Still existed. Like I say, it stopped in 2000 because my late brother Deng Adut, my older brother, his wife is still in slavery today.
Right.
People will not understand what kind of life I have, what kind of problem I have, whether the issue of slavery was something ancient. No, it happened right there.
Yeah.
His wife still haven't even returned. She left a daughter.
Yep.
And the daughter, she's already married and she got kidnapped. But that is a tragedy of what happened in my family, leave alone other people that are affected in South Sudan in general. So slavery was one of the issues.
Yep.
We went to war. And of course, it's Islamization of the whole country. And because Christian came in and then do whatever they did and then disappear and come back and leave us with another opposing force.
Yeah.
So yes, that's why we went to war. And
that was the resistance.
Yeah, and resources, of course. The resources came from the south, and then they built the north for it. And not only the resource from the south, the land itself, and also the building of canal, which was one of the critical problem, because if you build a canal on a Nile, another tribute of Nile, you're basically draining the water out of the lake. And the indigenous people that live there, and they're always fighting over the water. That's almost like extinction. So that's why we went to war, and SPLA it started with Anyanya 1. Anyanya 1 got defeated, and then 1972 there was some sort of agreement, but that agreement was violated because the Sharia law just kicked in. That is why the resistance started. It was purely for us to have our autonomy as a South Sudanese and also as African, because the Northern Arab consider themselves Arab. They don't consider themselves to be African. It's like me being in Australia, and I don't consider myself to be Australian, but I consider myself to be English.
And that's
where on earth does it happen? That's why everything goes wrong.
And so when that resistance army or movement was formed, they would draw on people like yourself.
Yes.
And why the age? Like 6. That's at 6. It seems brutal, but it wasn't as if your mother had a choice.
Correct.
They turn up at the village and say, "We want."
The first war that was fought.
Yep.
It was fought, but there was no plan in place.
Yep.
There was no next generation that would be able to run the war successfully and win.
Yeah.
So the idea, I believe, and I just learned recently, it was Dr. John Greng. He believed that if he take us to Ethiopia, we would be able to be educated. The one that are educated the one that are young, they will still get a basic small education.
Yep.
And then among them, when they're grown up to become strong,
Yep.
in that process of growing up and indoctrinate them, teach them.
Yep.
It's about the country. It's this country is their country, and it's not the northern country. It is your country, and only will take you to actually liberate it. So we were almost like he called us seed. That's what he said.
Cultivate.
You cultivate the seed.
Yep.
And for our parents in general didn't have that choice. They didn't have that mind in their head what that means.
Yeah.
But this was a preparation for a generation of a future to continue with the war. So this was nothing to say, oh, well, we're taking these children to educate them to have degrees, PhD.
Yeah.
No. It was to take us there, train us well, equip us with all kind of language, because some of the older boys end up being in Cuba,
right,
and become speak Spanish and learn other things. Some of them may end up going to Russia, and so there was a division of labor. That's what they tried to do. So my mother who was with home, was responsible to provide food for the army.
Yes.
While the army was fighting war. So it was almost like a distribution of resources for us. We were simply didn't have that choice because we were children.
Yeah.
And our parents didn't have that choice. It was simply any boy that you have, that boy you have two, you give up one. And if you have three, you give up two.
Okay.
So that is the principle always there.
Yeah. At that age of 6, did you have any comprehension what you were in for?
No.
So it was just told to you. Did you even get a sense of what war was at that stage?
Yeah, I remember the war. I remember they used to drop bomb on us when we were in our village.
Yep.
The Antonov used to drop crazy bomb, and we have to hide.
Okay.
We have to hear it shelling from a distance because Malek is not far away from Bor, Mading, which was the first. It was attacked in 1980, 16 of May 1980. 16 of May 1985. That's when the Bor, my town, was actually first to
bombed
to be to rebel. The rebellion started in Bor.
Ah, the rebellion.
Yep. And that rebellion in Bor, it then caused a lot of problem because we are now the target.
Yeah,
we now the target, and we were very much targeted by the military regime, Bashir, and so. While we were, in terms of comprehending, it was hard to comprehend where am I going first. I refused.
I take it you didn't want to go.
No, I didn't. I actually,
you're 6 years old.
I grabbed my mom's skirt.
Yeah.
I didn't want to let my mom's skirt go. I couldn't let it go. And it was my half brother, Adut, another Adut, who was a soldier, and he went to war. And he came back, but he became amputee. He was wounded on his arm, so he lost his arm, become amputee. That's my other brother. He persuaded me to. He gave me his army green beret, a khaki shirt, and that was the first time I got to put on a cloth onto my body, and that's where basically I was tricked, but I didn't want to go. And
but for a kid like to wear clothes that you would look at smart clothes. I've never had clothes before.
It was marvelous.
Yeah.
Nobody had it.
Yeah.
I am the one that have it. The soldiers have it. The whole village is naked.
Yeah.
I got one, and I'm gonna go to Ethiopia. I'm gonna be educated. So the word education in Dinka, Imbila Puch. So I accepted. Oh, you're gonna be trained. You're gonna be able to be taught something.
Yeah.
And I have my shirt on me. So nobody had a shirt when I was going there. So I accepted it.
Yeah.
And that was how I got myself in that problem. If I didn't accept the shirt, I could have just stayed with my mom and ran away and do it all day do it all day, run,
Just
hide
hide.
and seek. That's all they can try.
So what happens? They bundle all the boys together, and there would have been other boys that you know, and then they march you off to Ethiopia.
Yeah, in my family, just my family, my father's family, Adut, Agor, Queen Tuch, Anyang Aluel, and myself. So the 4 from my fathers that came there. My uncle also have given 4.
Yep.
And my aunt uncle 4. And my great uncle 4. And
so you got siblings, cousins. Yeah.
We had like at least 30, 40 of us from my clan, just the clan alone. And leave alone the rest from my mother's side, which is my uncle's side. So yes, there were about 80,000 children plus, and then mixed with people from another children come up from Baragzals, and also Nuer, who also give up their children also. And I don't think I saw Chuluk. The Chuluk children as well. So I think it was nearly the tribes that were predominantly involved during the war at the start. They were the one that allowed the children to be taken. To be taken. And
what was the process when you were taken? Like what happened? What was army life for a 6-year-old?
We were first, when we were put together, and then we were matched for 3,000 miles.
Marched.
Yeah. We walked.
And some pretty inhospitable country, desert and that.
Oh, people died. Children died, and wild animals eaten, a lot of them. And to make matter worse for me, as from Dingabur, I was much in a better position than the people from Dinga Baragzal, because they came from a long, it took them 4 or 5 months to get to my village.
Oh, right. So they've already been.
Yeah, and their children.
Yeah.
And then these children now, they march forward. So when we were actually going, we were moving to go to Ethiopia, we saw some of the skulls of these children on the ground, some of the skulls.
Right.
We saw, they died before.
And you're saying, and when you say it for someone from Australia, sort of, I've got to wind it back, like wild animals attacking you, and you're losing kids on the march with wild animals. What, lions and?
Yeah, he's a lion, and I remember that this kid called Abdalayor, Abdal, Adhiel. Abdal mean disrespectful.
Yeah,
that was not his name. Ayor mean it's a state. In Dinka there is Magwar. There's Ayor. There's Kech. It's a stage where the older one.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's Ayor. They are older guys.
Yeah.
But this kid there, his name he disrespect the older guy, because the older guys couldn't even do better than he does.
Right. So
because
no respect.
Well, we did exceptionally well, because the adult, most of them, some of the older ones ran away.
Yep.
Because they got legs to run.
Yeah.
And they end up getting caught and brought back. So these kids become almost like our role model, because he had a strong heart. Yeah. He can sleep there he would move with everybody, and then sleep when he's resting, and then when the rest of the older people came, and then they find him there, and then he move again.
Right.
So this kid was his name was Abdallah Yor, but he was young, but he had a heart of a lion, and he managed to get to Ethiopia on his own.
Right.
Just like me and the rest of the other kids. But that kid was an example of saying, oh, look at these adults, they can't even walk, they can't even run, they can't even do that. So yes, it was brutal. Water, we ran out of water. We end up shooting an elephant, and we have to drink the water. We squeeze the water out from the eggs that the elephant has in the gut, just to keep our mouths wet, because there's no other
Yeah.
than the other way around. I think the reason we even got ourselves into the to the thirst in general, not having water, is because we didn't know the area. We didn't know the location. But there was the water was just about a kilometer away from where we end up killing the elephant, and many kid dies. Yeah.
You basically marching, pointed in a direction, and keep walking.
Direction. There was no. It was just a straight direction.
Yeah.
There was
follow these people.
Follow the direction, and we just follow. It was just like it's thousands. At least you could. At least 20K, 50, 30, 60K wide. That's how long the journey is.
You survived it, but I would imagine there'd be kids that just give up on it. And
yeah, a lot of kids give up. A lot of kids die on the road, and I think the journey wasn't the worst for us.
Yeah.
What was bad was getting to Ethiopia, no food.
Yeah,
and then the diseases, the beginning. That was the genesis of every single disease we could ever imagine.
Right.
Ourselves. Dysentery. I never had a dysentery before. Malnutrition, cholera, diarrhea, chickenpox, measles.
Yeah.
We acquire all those diseases, and those are diseases that were never. We don't even have a name for them.
Right.
In general, but we got them when we got to Ethiopia.
Okay. So
and I have seen more dead people when I was actually in a hospital ward in Ethiopia. I've seen more dead people. Yeah. It was like they fill up the ward 20, 30 people, and in the morning it's empty.
Because
those 30 children are gone. It's empty. And there was 2 people, that Matioma Nyeth and myself.
Yeah.
These were the only people that are alive. I lost my 2 cousins there in that ward.
And this was in the ward with diseases.
It was just like it was just unbelievable, and how the disease just came about. And for me, that's the first time I believe that I survived a real death.
Yeah.
Because I that was the beginning. That was the definition of death when I was in that place. There was no.
How old are we at this stage?
I was just 6. That's when I just arrived.
Okay, so it's hard to even comprehend that you'd even have an appreciation of what death was, and you're seeing it on such a large scale.
Yeah. Actually, even those kids, when I was coming on the way, I didn't still appreciate the meaning of death. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The time that I appreciate the meaning of death is when my cousin, Anyang, Ayang, died next to me in a hospital ward. And he was basically dry like a piece of log, or just like a log. I tried to wake him up.
He's dead.
He's dead. So they come put him in a sack, because there's no another thing. They get a corn sack and then put you in and then take you out. So they put him in there, take him out, and a month gone, because I was still sick. Month gone. So I keep asking, where is Anyang? Where's Anyang? Where's Anyang?
Yeah.
And then it clicked in my head, he died.
Right.
And when you die, you never come back. And
that was a tough way to learn.
Yes. And from there, I just lost my mind.
Yeah.
I lost my mind completely. I just become almost it's hard to describe, but it was a stage where I was basically eating other children's poo.
Yeah.
Just like scavenging. There was nothing there.
Is that through hunger?
It's not hunger.
Yeah.
No, just sickness.
Right.
I was sick. I didn't know whether that's food or that's a poo,
I see what you're saying.
or that's a mud, or that is not a mud.
You're losing your mind, literally.
Completely.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was to have milk.
Yeah.
It's no more than that. And Anyang is dead. Anyang is gone. And so yeah, that's where everything just kicked in. And I understand the meaning of death.
Yeah.
That point in time. And from there, it just become part of me.
Yeah.
It become part of me. But yeah, I've seen more death in my life when I was actually a little boy just in a hospital. Because they don't come back. They put them in a sack like a young, and that's it. That's the end of it.
Take them away.
And then I'm lonely. I'm lonely in a ward. And because the other guy was very sick, Mathiop Manyat, he was really unwell. And so, and it was far away from the wing. So only two of us stay in that ward. And I remember only two of us got out of that place.
It's not the type of memory the average child would have. It's pretty heavy. When did they start indoctrinating you into turning you into a soldier and accepting that killing is
89?
Right, and talk us the process there, because they're taking a kid in and reading your book and hearing you talk. They really, it was almost like a brainwashing. That you were ready to die, and you're ready, prepared to kill. Is that the process that they put you through?
It is a process. It's very. I think when they first start the process, I remember we were sitting in a parade, and we're sitting in a row. And they brought, I think there was 10 or 9 people. They brought them, they were blindfolded. These people, they were to be shot. Right. That was to be shot. And that is what they call in Arabic, Bien Ahlamal. It's a first warning or your first firing squad that you can see as an example. And that example, basically now, you see the death by firing squad.
Yep.
Now, you will get the same weapon in your hand.
Yep.
And then you'll be able to use it. And from that time, I remember getting my first stick.
Yep.
And then my stick then turned into a wooden AK-47.
Right. So this is conditioning you to...
Yes.
Yep.
And then I have to attend a military training.
Yep.
Proper training, real military training. And there were two, I think there were Ethiopian trainers there, trainers.
Yep.
And also Sudanese trainers over there. And from there, we were already being mixed. Remember, came with family.
Yeah.
So what they did is they mix us at night. At middle of the night, they call a parade.
Yeah.
And then parade everywhere among the 100,000 children. They call a parade. And now you are taken from this group. You're being broken now. Yeah. You are now being mixed. You are mixed completely. You are mixed with. It's something that you end up with somebody that you never know in your life, not even know their language, don't even know their language alone.
But it's to break up that little cliques that you would have had with your family and your tribe. And
to break the bone that actually said, you are my brother. That brother is broken, and then now you are somebody else's brother.
Yeah.
And now there's no relation other than the relationship you have is with your AK-47.
Yep.
Is with Dr. John Garang, the leader of the movement. And, of course, all of you are equal in being able to fight the war. So, it was a complete indoctrination. Yeah. There was nothing left. There's nothing left. We sang more songs than any other people ever.
It's cutting off all your memories, isn't it? It's breaking that, cutting the umbilical cord, figuratively speaking.
Yes. Yes. I you're not even allowed to say hello to somebody that was in your village.
Yeah.
If you're far away, you can't say hello. If you are in a different train, you can just greet with your waving hand, and that's it. But your brother now is a man from another tribe, another clan, another.
And it's because that what you've described is what most armies do in some form, but generally they've got people that are older, and it's almost when you think at the age that you are, how impressionable you would be and how vulnerable you are to just be, you're basically breaking you down and creating what you want, and what they want is a soldier that's not going to think too much and just obey orders. And they clean up everything that you have, your culture, your whatever you have, but they brought you a new things, AK-47 in your hand, and that is the only thing right there in your head that can save your life, that can save your main life, that can liberate your country, that can actually allow you not to be enslaved. So you see. All these tick box they're gonna put. It's almost making that weapon your mother or your father. You're dependent on it, focused on it. That's part of you.
Yeah. So when you have that in your hand and you've been trained well, you're simply unbreakable. When you are a child, you grow and become strong, you're unbreakable, because that's your best friend, and you know what it does now.
And you would, as a child with a gun in your hand, you'd feel fearless. That you wouldn't have a sense of what they're asking you to do, because it's just drummed into you.
We used to basically cry, just to go to a front line.
You wanted to get to the front line.
We cry for it just to get to the front line. That's how bad we were indoctrinated. Just to go to the front line. To get killed or get shot, whatever.
You didn't care.
There's no the idea. You don't care. That's actually the motive. That's the motto. Shala na moon malu. If I die, so what? That is the key. That's the key. That's the foundation of everything. If I die, so what? That is what is ingrained into your head. So you're not. The death was too remote for us. It's we were some sort of super soldier, and we were just being abused, being tortured, being not even eating food, scrambling for years, not even wearing any pants or a short. All these things, it's just tapping the hell out of you. And of course, we had our AK-47 without even having a khaki on us. And they're virtually preparing you and then pointing you in a direction. But there was something in your book that where a person was shot, I think a sniper, and the leaders sent you out to find villages. That I know it's something that still haunts you. Do you want to talk about about that? Because I think it just gives an understanding of how much brainwashing has occurred at this stage. When you lose your humanity, it's hard to get it back. And a lot of people don't know. They may just support a war, but if they haven't participated in it and seen somebody's life being taken, your life almost been taken, and barely supporting yourself emotionally, but to support yourself with that physical machine, it was just unbearable. For example, this story that I gave as an example is just one tiny example, and of course, there were some sort of atrocities in a camp that we committed generally. And I remember, this is 94, when we were in Natinga, we basically opened the whole camp. It was nothing. We built it from scratch to make it a military camp. And there used to be a practice, a culture, and where there's a tribe that is allied to the northern government.
People who you're in conflict with.
Yeah, for example, Taposa may be allied with the northern government, so the north will give them ammunition guns and spy on us, and spy on us, and when get bomb drop on us.
Yeah.
Now the villages, they were from a tribe called Dinka.
Yeah.
They were going to sell gold because gold is everywhere in South Sudan. You can pick it up on the ground. So they picked the gold, and there's no food. There was no other way of supporting them because of the war, civil war. So they were selling their gold, going to Kenya to sell their gold. But the reason we actually executed them and tortured them was because one of a guy, Nimeri, who was very, very strong man. We know him from the very beginning. We love him. It's one of us. Even though he's from Nuba, doesn't matter. We're Red Army.
Yeah.
That's another story. So Nimeri went to get to hunt for bees, for honey.
Yeah.
So you went on bees hunting. So
bees.
you found a honey and crack his honey and collecting his honey. Once he was about to collect it, and someone we don't know who it was, but definitely from Dinka.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Taposa were kind of allied to us in a tiny way.
Yep.
And we even allowed them. I do remember they even were allowed to even come with the heads of people that they killed to show in a parade.
Yeah.
And they come singing with their song.
With their
this is a horrible thing. You cut somebody's head, and the evidence is the head that you have done that, and then you will be given ammunition.
Right.
Threat. This is ammunition now, so that you go and kill more, or you go and do whatever you do. That is how bad the war was fought.
It's brutal.
Fought in the country, and believe me, and they did it in Afghanistan. The same thing is done in Afghanistan. It's happening in Ukraine. That's the behavior. Yeah. So you pick a side. Yeah. And that side who support you is a side that is on your side. Yeah. So these Dinka, we assume they have. It's assumption because I didn't see my two eyes.
Shot your friend.
Yeah. We assume that. So these villagers, they came. Nimeri was dead anyway. Yeah. So villagers came in, and we stopped them at the stop checkpoint, and we checked them what they have. I wasn't there at the checking point. Yep. And they were taken to a cell where they were in. I was there at the cell. Yep. And then we were given orders to find out whether they murdered Nimeri. Yeah. So what do we have to do? We have to torture them to find out the words. Mm-hmm. And we tortured them, and they didn't know anything about it. We basically received order. There were 12 of us doing the job.
Then the order was basically to torture them and find out.
So we tortured them badly, and we use also we use brutal. We use sledge. It's like it's like a machete, but it's not. Yeah. Okay. And we tortured these people to the point that they don't even remember where they were. Yeah. Because it's military torture. It's terrible. And after that, we left them. Majuk Man Along, the commander, sent his Captain Lowell. Captain Lowell then gave an orders to execute these people. Now, these people was executed not with a bullet, but with a slight machete. Yeah.
Chopped up.
One person, one guy, After we slashed him well, we thought he was dead. That person got play dead.
Yeah.
And we left, and we went to our area, our camps, and at night, we start smell barbecue, but it wasn't a barbecue. They set those people on fire, basically burn them, not to exist, just basically destroy the corpse. And one of those guys, the lucky man, the miracle, the miracle, I call it the miracle man, got lucky, and he ran away.
Right.
He ran away, and we came back. They would check, they would count, and then Luol now he's in panic now because something went loose.
Yeah.
So we were sent to search for the man. We didn't find the man. The man disappeared, and he went to Chukudum. He reported himself to a bishop, Taban, a bishop. And the bishop then took a message to the chairman, Dr. John Garang Mabiot. And as a result of that message, we basically receive our punishment. And our punishment was basically to go and do raid in Capoeira.
Right.
And we participated in a raid in Capoeira. Everyone that was involved there.
So you're sent to the front line.
No, it's a raid.
Yeah.
Raid first.
Yeah.
Raid is you go during the daylight.
Yeah.
And you assault. You go on an offensive assault.
Yeah.
While you're running, and you're not turning around. You're just crossing the city as you go. So if you get shot behind, that's fine. But there's no returning. It's just like a one-off, and then you do that.
See where their guns are.
Yep. So we got fire raid, and we did our fire raid successfully. And when we were successful in knowing that where the enemy is, and then we start the assault of Capoeira, and we start the assault at 1995. It's shown on YouTube anyway. Was Crazy War.
Yeah.
And and we basically didn't capture the town. We were destroyed completely, demolished. Luol died with his whole bodyguard, the captain.
Yeah.
Commanding officer, Major Mayan died with all his bodyguard, platoon.
Yeah.
A full platoon. So, yes, karma is beautiful.
Yeah.
So the karma of Ding Dinka got us, and that's a blessing. That I think is a blessing. Sometimes, where do we find? Where does the karma come from? It have to happen in order to
you've done these things, and then
it must happen. Yeah,
it balances it out.
You get a balance. Yeah,
because you got shot during that attack, didn't you?
Yeah, the assault, the first assault, which is the raid that we did, the first one I was shot in that.
Yep.
But I was shot only in my thigh, so it wasn't big.
Right.
But when we begin the
proper
operation, proper operation, I received 9 bullets. 9 bullets.
Yeah.
It was nearly it was in a month of a solo of attack, and we just have to go
keep going, running in.
You don't even sometimes have to pull next to yourself, pull on yourself, peel on yourself. There's no getting up, and Capoeira is elevated. So, and there are no trees, so it's like a desert, a bad desert, and. So,
and how old were you at this stage?
I was actually 12.
12. Yeah. And running in, fighting, being shot, all the things that you've experienced. It's just, it's mind blowing, Deng. It really is. And I just sort of sit here and you're telling me these stories, and I'm thinking I just can't believe it. You talk karma. Well, maybe karma is if you got shot 9 times and you're still alive.
No, it's not 9. It's actually I have total 19. Bullet and shrapnel all together.
We won't put you past the X-ray machine. You might go off.
My brother got more before he died. More more injuries than anyone could ever
Okay.
imagine, and it's just crazy. It's nearly everyone that was in South Sudan. If you haven't got shot, you're lucky. If you haven't received shrapnel, you might be born somewhere with God.
Something's gone wrong.
I know a guy that a friend of mine who actually who was very lucky than me, who detonated a hand grenade right there in front of him, and he ended up with all the injuries in his body, but he's still alive today. No joke.
No, it's amazing how things can play out.
Yeah.
Well, look, we might have a break here. That's a pretty full first 12 years of your life, Deng, and when we come back, we'll talk about how you escaped that environment with the help of your brother, and then the extraordinary things you've done setting up a life for yourself here in Australia. But it's amazing, and I thank you for being so open and honest, because I think it's really giving the listeners an understanding. We talk, we see books, Boy Soldier, we hear about it. Hearing it firsthand, it really sort of opens your eyes to what you're experiencing. So we'll take a break and back shortly.